Girl, now look at this. I have to share this recipe for this cheesy, ooey gooey lasagna. It is the best lasagna I've ever had, okay? I'm not even a lasagna fan. I'm a pretty picky eater. But this is going to be in heavy rotation in my kitchen, y'all. It's so good. And let me tell you how I made it. Now, to make the meat sauce, I took some tomato puree, some crushed tomatoes. Here I have a couple of dried herbs. We have some dried oregano and dried basil, some tomato paste, a bunch of minced garlic. I love garlic, y'all. We have some finely chopped onion, a little bit of sugar. I have a finely chopped carrot, just one, and some beef bouillon. Now we're going to take all of these ingredients and we're going to make our meat sauce. Now, of course, we're going to need some meat. I'm going to be using some ground beef, but if you want to use like a ground beef pork mixture, or if you want to use some ground turkey, ground chicken, totally up to you. You just need about 2 pounds of it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and brown this ground beef, and I'm going to drain it because there was a lot of fat that came off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and drain it. I'm going to put it in a bowl and I'm going to set it aside. Now to that same skillet, I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil. And then I'm going to throw in my carrots and my onions. And I'm going to let these two saute and marry together in this olive oil for a few minutes, for about 5 to 7 minutes, just until it starts to get nice and soft and you see little caramelized pieces here and there on the onions. After that, I'm going to add in my minced garlic. And we're going to let this continue to cook for about 30 seconds or so, just to warm up the garlic. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in my tomato paste, my crushed tomatoes, and my tomato puree. I'm going to go ahead and use a whisk to really mix that tomato paste in well. Next, I'm going to go ahead and throw in those seasonings and herbs, and I'm also going to add in some black pepper and salt. Now that's the base of it, y'all. You know me, I'm going to have to add in some more seasoning. So I'm adding in some Lawry's seasoned salt and some no salt seasoning. So just make it your own, add your own seasonings and make it your own. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add that ground beef back in. Now we're going to go ahead and take a lid and cover this up. And on a medium-low heat, we're going to let this cook for about 20 to 30 minutes. Now it's going to cook down and it's going to get super thick. And this is a really thick, hearty meat sauce. It's so delicious, you guys. You have to try it. So good. Next, we're going to make our Parmesan Bechamel Sauce. We're going to take some milk, some fresh Parmesan cheese, a little bit of AP flour, and of course, some butter, baby. We're going to use some butter. Now to make this bechamel sauce, we're going to melt our butter in a saucepan. Now you don't want to melt it over too high of a heat. So just put it on low heat, let that butter melt down. Once the butter is completely melted, you want to go ahead and remove your saucepan from the heat. We're going to add in about a cup of our milk and our flour. And we're going to whisk it together until it gets nice and smooth. We're only adding in a little bit of the milk right now just to get this nice and smooth, and then we'll add in the rest of the milk. Now we're going to go ahead and add the rest of the milk in. And once you do that, you're going to sit it back on the heat and you're going to let it simmer, come to a simmer while whisking it, while stirring it, because you want to keep it nice and smooth. And it's going to start to get thick for you. It's going to thicken up for you. And this sauce is going to get nice and thick, you guys. You want it thick enough to coat the back of your spoon. So now we're just going to go ahead and slowly add in our Parmesan cheese. Now, I'll be honest, this bechamel sauce was nice and smooth, y'all, until I did this right here. I'm thinking that's why it wasn't as smooth as it should have been, because I kind of accidentally clunked all the cheese in there. I was trying to go slow, girl. It was just rushing out the bowl. But it was still delicious. It was just little bits and pieces of Parmesan cheese, but it was so good. So you want to season up your bechamel sauce a bit with some salt and pepper, but I had to add a little bit of extra seasoning, so I'm adding some no salt seasoning, and I'm also going to add some onion powder and garlic powder. I try my hardest sometimes not to add the extra seasoning, you guys, just to see how recipes are when I try them out, but it's so hard. I know my palate. I know my taste buds. They like a lot of seasoning. Not salt, but seasoning. Here I have some oven-ready lasagna sheets. And we also have some fresh shredded mozzarella. I love me some fresh shredded mozzarella cheese. I could just eat a whole handful of it. So guys, let's get this lasagna layered up and in the oven. You're going to take a 9 by 13 cooking dish. You're going to add some of your meat sauce to the bottom layer, to the bottom of the dish. You're going to add your lasagna sheets, and then you're going to add another layer of your meat sauce. You're going to drizzle on some of your bechamel sauce, and then you're going to top that with some cheese. And you're going to continue to layer it that way until you reach the top. Once you reach the top, you want to end it with that mozzarella cheese and that bechamel and the meat sauce. Not with the noodles, not with the dried noodles. You really want to make sure those noodles are nice and covered so it can be nice and juicy, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and pop this in the oven at 350 for 25 to 30 minutes. You don't want to cover it. Phone went off. At the end, I like to put mine under the broiler so the cheese can get nice and golden and have little bits of crispiness to it. I just love that. So put it under the broiler, watch it, don't let it burn. Isn't she beautiful? You guys, I was actually really proud of this lasagna because it was so good and it came out perfect. So I'm gonna add some freshly chopped parsley on top just to make it look pretty. I'm so excited, you guys, to show you this lasagna that I didn't wait long enough for it to set. And I was having a hard time, girl, getting it out of the pan. It was falling all over the place. So I just said, I'm about to eat. So this right here is later on in the night when it's at room temperature, but you can still see it is juicy. It is delicious. I promise you, you are going to love it. If you don't like ricotta cheese, this is a lasagna for you, because I don't like ricotta cheese. So give it a try, you guys. Yum.